morning, Richard. It looks like another lovely day in the neighborhood. Have you ever been to Shakespeare in the Park?
I'm happy to try it, but my experience of such productions is not encouraging. As an actor myself, I may be too demanding, but I am what I am. Susie, I have largely, but not universally, gained to try new things before I reject them.
I completely understand your critical eye when it comes to theatrical productions. I've heard, however, that these at Egerton Park are really not too bad, and the ambiance is quite lovely. Last night was truly pleasurable. 4 hours of beginning to get to know each other.
Yes, indeed. I note that I say things here about sexuality that I would not normally dream of saying to someone I knew for 4 hours. But you set a good tone, which I appreciate.
And that will not change. Sexuality is one of the many topics about which I have always, well, as an adult anyway, been completely open. One of my favorite t-shirts says, read a banned book, and then on the back it lists about 12 books that have been banned in the U.S. school system. I deeply resent taboo subjects as they usually stifle free expression.
I don't like taboos either, but I would have a more tempered view. Of course, some taboos are to stifle free expression, and all taboos by definition seek to stifle something.
A society must have some basic ground rules, and one's freedoms in general should be tempered by the impact of one's actions on others. The old crying fire in the crowded theater, for example.
I don't like people who ignore social rules and laws that help maintain a minimum level of decorum. Spitting on the sidewalk, punching someone, turning over garbage.
It really stretched my liberal philosophy when I was confronted in my sequestered town of Cheshire, about a half a block from a synagogue, by the Klan some years ago. They came up to the car window when we were stopped at a traffic light. Naturally, they were all dressed in full regalia, all in white, hooded. It reminded me of Skokie. I agree philosophically in the abstract with the ACLU's position, and I kept up my membership, but without any emotional enthusiasm.
This reminds you, it's the day after we met. This dismissal of some rules for basic social order is what came to make me feel alienated in New York City, with a common attitude, and I don't like New York attitude. It exudes, stay out of my space, which is wherever I decide.
Yeah, that used to drive me crazy when we lived in Riverdale from 1967 to 69. We commuted to Columbia P&S on public transportation. But in retrospect, I've mellowed out. Did I tell you about my amygdala theory of mellowing out? I don't think so. Add that to the list. I assume that when you said that even if we become friends but don't develop a romantic relationship, it was because of your trust issues and your past divorces and all, not because you were not attractive. My spell check program rejected unattractive. To me. That thought occurred to me as I was driving home, where I would have asked you at the time.
What? I find you pretty, so that's not an issue. I'm not used to white hair.
I had gray hair. That's interesting. I kept mine colored for years because I got tired of fighting ageism and because it gave me more credibility with teenagers when I taught human sexuality at Hamden Hall. When I was going through chemo for ovarian cancer, my hair started falling out. Impatient, I shaved my head. And I was pretty happy with the result. In fact, when I wasn't wearing wigs, scarves, and hats, I was in your face bald at many public occasions.
And in fact, she sent me a couple of photographs of herself. You're cute.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
And I think that comes in part because you generate great energy that I assume comes from your continuing zest for life.
Yep, no caffeine or uppers for me. I'm just naturally upbeat and high energy. Some people are frightened away by that. In fact, a counselor in a private relationship company suggested I try to tone myself down. I would not do that. I couldn't fake my personality through an entire long-term relationship.
Remind me to tell you about the contrary vibes I get from men and women on dating sites.
I'd be most interested. And in turn, I shall tell you about some of the men I've met on these sites, and what some of their outrageous profiles say. Particularly the men who are younger than my son Rick, and who write me passionate love letters.
And even though I don't expect to be ready for it anytime soon, I have to confess curiosity about what new sexual vistas may be opened up to me should we eventually decide to go that route.
I think we're embarrassing each other. You know, to be perfect, to be perfectly candid, and I can't imagine anything else in a relationship that may develop with you, I have not even kissed anybody since Erwin died.
Now, that does surprise me, though only because you come across as so out there.
Yeah, somebody I met in an elder hostel program over New Year's in Carmel, California, seemed to have the hots for me.
And you blame him? You're a hot tamale.
Yeah, he wanted to bring me home to show off to his two grown sons. We were at opposite ends of the spectrum, politically, educationally, socially, everywhere. I wasn't attracted to him at all. But he suddenly grabbed me and kissed me on the lips, out of the blue. I'm quite comfortable with hugging, but I need to move slowly sexually in any case. Think about it, a half a century almost, with only one person. And I'm a confirmed monogamist, so there was never anyone else for me during those years. So your reticence to rush forward in this department is absolutely fine with me at this point. And I should add that the reason I was angry about the kiss is that I felt nothing for you. Not to worry, that's the antithesis of how I feel about you.
2. I should ask in return whether you find me physically attractive. I know these things are crapshoots, so I'd rather be honest about it from the start.
Absolutely. First came my being drawn to your smile, and next came my cerebral attraction to you, and picking up the numerous vibes between us. All of that is a requisite for the development of physical attraction in my book. If we were in a serious relationship, I would probably tease you into trimming your eyebrows, because I have a thing about that.
Another woman to kvetch about my eyebrows. Oh, how I am besieged by intolerant forces.
I used to urge Erwin to keep his eyebrows trimmed.
3. My reference to friendship versus romance is primarily driven by the fact that I so enjoyed your company, mind, conversation, that I would hope that if romance doesn't evolve, I wouldn't lose those.
I would not mind at all if our relationship went in a romantic direction. Funny story. I once asked Erwin very early in our marriage who his best friend was. I thought it was almost a rhetorical question, and then he would respond that I was his best friend. His answer? Let's see now. I'd have to say it's Ellie Yeager. Yes, that was his childhood friend. Remind me to tell you about the Ellie Yeager story.
All right, it appears we must start to make a list of stories we invite the other to ask about.
I responded, and not exactly a paragon of tact at that point, "You're my best friend, Erwin." And in later years, we looked back on that and we were able to joke about it, as it became increasingly clear that we were, in fact, each other's best friends. I can't imagine a marriage of which I were a part in which that would not be the case. Speaking of marriage, my estate attorney fancies me his younger sister. He's in his 80s and he's a real sweetheart. Just told me that he gives my dating the seal of approval and he wouldn't even mind my living with someone. But he doesn't want me to get married again. He's looking at it from a money, estate, and inheritance point of view.
5. But yes, I'm scared, not consciously. I'm trying to figure out what I meant by this next sentence. I'm not ready to settle into a single relationship. Thank you. Side coaching. Oh, I go on. So I do. Yes, we. 6. That was 5. 6. The trust issue is not about multiple marriages, but about the most recent relationship. The trust is A. How can I know even the most loving, connected woman won't find in 15 years that I'm no longer right for her? And B. How do I trust myself to make a good decision?
And if you don't, would that be the end of the world?
What? Wouldn't be. How's that possible? I joke, but it does feel that way, regardless of my understanding to the contrary.
I have a different outlook when it comes to decision making, especially with big decisions. I sleep on it, consider it from all the vantage points I can, then I do what feels right for me, and in my mind and in my gut. If in later years, in retrospect, it looks as though I made a wrong decision, well, so what? I was really impressed last night with our first night, with how you...
Meeting.
Yeah, our first meeting. Right. Well, I was emotional issues and on getting to know yourself. I know very few men who would even be willing to embark on such a journey, much less follow it through.
I self-consciously confess that I like hearing that. I'm not one to shirk facing up to hard truths about myself and trying to deal with them. And taking a risk, which is mostly about my mistrust of myself, will not be easy. On the other hand, I'm damned if I want to live the next few decades alone.
Ditto. If I didn't feel that way, believe me, I wouldn't have gone to Match.com or to that senior site.
I know that on your end, 10 months after losing what seems to have been a wonderful life partner for 47 years, phenomenal, you must be careful in your own way.
Yes, but I trust my instincts, even if some of my friends may be shocked that I'm meeting people, quote, so soon after Irwin died.
I wouldn't have thought of it, and I doubt this would be universal. But I understand and admire why you want to find another solid relationship, even if no one can ever replace Irwin.
Yes, it's based on, in part, on knowing what wonders are possible in a really good relationship, on having developed some insight into how to make and keep it that way.
I warned you I often write long emails.
Here it is, 9 o'clock p.m., and I have forgotten again to eat. One of the downsides of living alone. With an electronic hug, Barbara, a.k.a. BRD.
A hug in return.
August 16th, 12:06 a.m. Midnight. What's a three-letter abbreviation for the organizer of, quote, many a sit-in? It's number 10 down in today's New York Times crossword puzzle.
12:26 a.m. SDS. 10:16 a.m. What I most miss in my otherwise lovely compact apartment is doing laundry in it. I have to go outside a short distance. The woes of rent.
When calculating what you would give up financially for you to move in with someone, be sure to add in the cost of laundry.
Perhaps we need to schedule a meeting just to review our email exchanges and add comments. Snippets from the next several days.
August 17th, 10:59 a.m. Good morning. I'm sitting in the airport awaiting my flight to Chicago and then on to Portland and reading the New York Times. Be sure to read the front page article on the Taliban mullahs, flexing their muscles and acting inhumanely, ostensibly in the name of Islamic law. It has snapped me out of a mellow mood and has made my blood boil.
I haven't read this, don't have the paper yet, but I've gotten the idea from headlines. Arg. Also going to make it seem more reasonable not to get out of Afghanistan. I hate this behavior that encourages anti-Muslim fervor in the West. August 19th, 1941 p.m. I sent a catch-up email with 36 itemized comments, all short. You can guess what happened to that message in a couple of days.
I should mention that I was writing all my emails on an iPhone. Very tiny. August 24th, 3:07 a.m. A brief music course, music history course, a short discourse on the subject for us. Oh, August 25th, 1:15 a.m. Guess what weekend workshop I once took with Betty Dodson? If you ask me nicely, I shall tell you all about it someday.
August 27th, 12:04 p.m. I haven't received an email from you in over 5 minutes. I guess the magic is over.
7:32 p.m. A biological comment I feel compelled to make, based on what I figured out together over the years, even though I imagine it's after the fact. Fruit is protected to some extent from rotting by the skin and the peel, and then a few similar sentences follow. At this point, you're probably tempted to leave to stop reading.
Okay, you made me laugh. And all the foregoing makes sense. Of course, I never thought about it. I did think you were about to tell me that my fruit salad, which I promised you, was irredeemably compromised.
Anyway, you're probably thinking that some of the fruits could rot, even if their peel is not cut. And then I went on to the few sentences.
How many pages?
August 28th, 3:54 p.m. Hang in there, we're almost done. Guess what came in the mail today? Yep, you must be clairvoyant. Season tickets to Long Wharf, including complimentary tickets for a guest of my choice. Do not one, but two pleasures. Wait, works right. And also got Yale Rep tickets in the mail today.
let's not plan too far ahead yet. Tempting as it is. But I would love to go to as many shows as we can while we remain interested in each other.
I shall assume that your question about what makes the flesh of the fruit ripen, even if the fruit is uncut, is not a rhetorical question, and I shall respond based on what I've figured out over the years. The Weich hypothesis of adaptiveness of fruit ripening. Fruits such as apples and peaches are selected for because they attract predators, and on for some more sentences.
So the fruit is not rotting, but ripening to allow reproduction.
The most fascinating question to me is, and then several more questions. Stick with me, baby, and you'll learn sentences. Yes, of course. Stick with me, baby, and you'll learn more than you ever wanted to know about botany and other fascinating biological wonderments. And then several more sentences on fruit variety. How come you don't ever tell me cool things about 16th century literature and ideas? Huh?
Have you asked? Huh? Be careful what you wish for. I could go on at length about my specialized knowledge, but I never expect anyone to be interested. Did you tell me you hate plus signs?
No. I didn't tell you I hate plus signs. Plus, capitalized to emphasize what I hate. What I meant was that I hate conjunctification of prepositions.
Don't you mean conjunctivosity missification?
See what I mean?
Actually, no.
We destroy some of the versatility of language when we stop distinguishing between different parts of speech.
Well,